previously on In Times Like These.
Thankfully, Dee Dee is getting info on Virgil for me. Now that Udell is distracted by that low-class criminal, it's the perfect opportunity to get my company back.
What would Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell say about you getting involved in this?
I ain't getting involved, JJ. You are. And if you decide to get involved, then you be helping a little boy keep both of his parents in his life.
You were run over years ago, Finnegan. Whoever did that to you made sure no evidence would lead back.
Family just got out of yet another scandal. Are you really willing to put your family through another one?
I think it's time for you to get your annual checkup, because I don't think you're hearing me.
You will not get anything else from my family's company. Most of all, I'm getting back the shares you stole.
It sounds like all you need to do is cut ties with Virgil.
You know it ain't that easy, Quinn. Especially since he's staying at Jackie's house with Bernice and Kimmy.
He's doing what?
It's an unexpected visit.
I'm gonna get to the point. How come you can't bring yourself to learn from your bad choices?
What is it that you needed to speak with us about, Wanda?
I'm here with a business offer.
What sort of business offer?
How would you two like to buy out Udell's shares to Confidence Designs?
Is everything okay, JJ?
That's why I'm calling you. Dee Dee told me about your parents trying to get Zeke to give up his parental rights.
Haven't we said everything we needed to say to each other, Finnegan?
Clearly we haven't, since that's why I'm here. Before Gianni tells you, I wanted you to know that he just paid me a visit.
What did I do this time?
Allowing Virgil to stay in this house.
What was I supposed to do, Quinn? Let him be homeless?
I know you haven't forgotten how resourceful Virgil is. He would have been perfectly fine. What makes you think it would be okay for him to stay in the same house as your best friend's daughter?
Why would you want us to buy out your husband's shares? He's keeping your company within your family?
Allowing Udell to be the majority shareholder was a terrible mistake.
Can you admit that cheating on him was a mistake as well? I doubt he'd have the shares to begin with if you had just been faithful.
You both know Elvira and I were supposed to run Confidence Designs together. This is your chance to help carry on your daughter's legacy and keep Udell from running it into the ground.
Why can't that cousin of yours mind the business that pays her?
That's why I really struggled with calling you about this, Yvette.
Let me guess. Dee Dee wanted you to reach out to me to see if I could convince my parents to change their minds.
Johnny sign over a portion of his shares to you?
What do you think, Heidi?
By the sound of it, I think my husband made it clear that you wouldn't be getting any more Russo Jewelers shares anytime soon, just like I told you would end up happening.
As if I'm gonna give up. Like I said, I'm extending the deadline. Because once Gianni faces charges, your position as district attorney will be at risk.
If you're worried about the opinions, then you need to remember that Virgil paid off what he owed.
And what about the next time Virgil gets himself in trouble? Kimmy barely knows the man.
Which is why Kimmy ain't bothered about Virgil. In fact, she wants to be alone all the time after Lyric threw acid at her.
That house isn't big enough for Kimmy to avoid Virgil all the time. Kids aren't safe around him.
When you say him, do you mean me?
Don't you think you're overreacting just a bit?
I know my husband.
And your husband would know that he'd lose millions of dollars if he ran Confidence Designs into the ground.
Mitchell Law will always be his priority, and he won't be content until he tears down everything I've built.
Exactly, Wanda. You built Confidence Designs, not Elvira. You come to us for help, but yet you couldn't come to us when you found out what Devante did to my daughter.
On top of that, you came after our grandson Maximilian when your daughter falsely accused him. Using my dead daughter to win this battle against your husband doesn't sit right with me.
Not wrong, Yvette. Dee Dee definitely wants you to change your parents' minds.
Well, Gabriel is my son, so what your cousin wants doesn't matter.
And Gabriel is also Zeke's son. From the sound of it, Zeke isn't really too happy about it.
I'm not concerned about Zeke's feelings either.
What do you want, Yvette? Do you really want Gabriel to grow up without his dad?
My career would only be in true jeopardy if Gianni is convicted of anything. Think about it, Finnegan. If you go forward with pressing charges, Valley Park might just see it as you having a vendetta against me for pressing charges against you.
If you thought that was a possibility, then you wouldn't have signed over some of your shares to me to begin with.
Because you didn't initially tell me about your plans to get Gianni's shares, which are impossible to gain.
Well, those shares will be useless once he ends up in prison.
You know,
good and well that I'm talking about you, Virgil.
This ain't your house, Quinn, which means that you ain't got a say about who gets to stay here.
I'm warning you, Virgil. Stay away from Kimmy.
What was that about?
You know your daughter's always tripping.
Can you tell me when you're available to meet with me, Vivian? I've got a unique business opportunity for you.
When I gave Zeke the chance to cut ties with his parents, he refused, JJ.
Well, Zeke is expressing his frustrations to Dee Dee. Are you actually willing to go to court?
I'm willing to do anything to keep my son safe.
Don't you realize that you'll be exposed as a blackmailer if you end up taking Johnny to court?
And the board will realize that you didn't report me, which could cost you your legal license, Heidi. My suggestion is that you have a long talk with your husband to prevent any damage.
Thank you for answering, Pacho. I'm ready to proceed with our plans regarding the Dorvals.